And Liam Brosnan is back after his big tour of Northern Ireland.
Thanks, Donal, for welcoming me back.
John Kennedy just rambled in from North Carolina. Liam, it was an epic trip, wasn't it?
It was, both on and off the field, between the game moved.
Oh, talk about off the field. Come on, that's what the crowd wants, yeah. How many hours did it get down yesterday evening?
Well, I suppose it took us, it wasn't too bad, because when they moved the game to Pomeroy, it took us closer to Dublin, you could say, a small bit. I suppose it was about 5.5 hours to get home. But sure, 5.5 hours in the car with Ambrose and Timmy, sure, wouldn't anyone love that?
God almighty, and none of you driving it.
Automatic. Automatic.
I suppose after last week, John Kennedy, you predicted that we would beat Tyrone. Liam was less optimistic. I think he said we'd lose. I think he said we'd lose. John Kennedy said we needed a win. How vital was it to win, first of all? And the manner of the win maybe was even more important.
Yeah, it was crucial to win. I think Division 1 stat is very important, I think, from a supporter's point of view as well. But I think you could see what it meant afterwards to Jack and the players. It was a big victory, a very important 2 points. But the manner in which we won, I suppose when we got the second black card, 51 and 53 minutes, 6 points down, you'd say, where are we going to get scores from? But we spoke here last week about leaders, and we had them yesterday. I suppose David Clifford was outstanding. He the 3 goals, the third one was only half a chance. The bit of a sidestep with the hop and an emphatic finish. But Dylan Casey stood up when he needed to. Graham O'Sullivan, Jason Foley, I thought they were outstanding. Our midfielders, Barry Dan had a huge influence when he came in. And Paul Gainey used all his experience. He was involved in the 3 goals, and Paddy Clifford as well. These guys, it was a battle. Conditions were tough. Tyrone had the upper hand, and we had to come from behind. And the Derry game was a smash and grab kind of, but this was really dig deep. We got the last 1-4 in the game. Tyrone, they threw the kitchen sink at us. Bringing on Peter Hart, Derek Hanavan. They were decent around the middle with the 2 lads, with Kennedy and Kilpatrick. But a real battle. And games like this, they actually galvanise a team. And they get the spirit going, because one of Jack's interviews after he spoke how disappointed they were against Dublin, leaving that lead slip. Some of the things they didn't do well, they definitely improved them. Kickouts were a big improvement. I thought the movement, was there, but the scores and us taking responsibility, very important, and we did that. And relegation fears are eased. You beat Mayo next week, and you're certainly safe, and then you could be looking at the other end of the table to see, have we a chance of getting? So that's how close it is, how competitive it is in Division 1, but certainly to go to Tyrone and win, great victory.
Liam, that said, and all that is positive, of course, people are still staying at half time. God, we're second best nearly all around the field. We started really well, we kicked 4 points, but then out of the blue, Tyrone found 2 pointers at their ease, pulled away. How vital was David Clifford's goal, first of all, and how impressed were you at the Tyrone shooting? Yeah,
it was, I suppose, look, watching it on television and being at it were probably 2 different, because you would appreciate the conditions. And I said it to Joe at half time, conditions, we were on about the Dublin game the week before, something similar really, and the underground footing was hard for both teams, but you could see Tyrone had the aid of the breeze in the first half from their kicking, and like you said, David Clifford's goal just before half time, it was vital. And even our 4 points, that we went up to 4-0, they were, because Tyrone couldn't do that in the second half. So it was kind of a leg up for us going in at half time. And the only worrying thing in the second half is when every time we kind of were able to get maybe slightly on top, Tyrone came down and hit the back of the net in order to the goal and the penalty and stuff like that. But overall, I agree with what John said. It was a performance. They dug deep. We had leaders all over the field, really. I'd say there was a lot of harsh words said during the week training. They were disappointed after the Kerry result. Now, we won't get too carried away with it. There's a lot of work to be done, but it was a big victory up there.
Yeah, let's drill down the first half again, because I think you're papering over some of the cracks, guys. I mean, one week we kind of expose all the cracks, and the next week we kind of paper over them in a sense. We scored the 4 points against them. We started really, really well. I mean, Brino Bigley popped up for a fantastic score. David got the first one, of course. Dylan Gainey clipped over one. And then there was the black card. Jason Foley went in, and he did really well, actually, in the full forward. Your man pulled him. We were up a black card. Poddy then nabbed over the next one. But it's the 2 pointers I want to nail down, because obviously it's going to lead to discussion that we didn't score any in the whole game, basically. But Tyrone scored, like the wing back got to them very, very quickly. The lead was wiped out like that, and Tyrone pushed on. How impressive were those kicks from where?
They were very. McKernan kicked two massive ones, and they were kind of, I suppose over time with these new rules you'll be pinpointing who can kick and who can't kick.
Yes, exactly.
So
that's the point, yeah.
Teams are trying to figure out who can kick these and who can't kick them, and I suppose Kerry were standing off a small bit, and to be fair, even though they had the breeze, it was kind of blowing across the goals as well. There were two massive points, and it two massive 2-pointers, and it really kind of got the crowd going then as well. But I think that's going to be the main thing in the next couple of weeks, or over through this league campaign, is to figure out who can kick these. I suppose there was talks after the worrying thing in Kerry is we've only kicked, I think, 5 overall in all our games, and Shawnee's kicked 4 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's something that it's there, and it's going to be a big part of the game. We see Galway now, and we see Donegal and these guys. It is, the 2-pointer now is something that really kind of is going to be a big weapon in teams' arsenal now to get guys. But the one thing, when you have the likes of David Clifford, Donal, I know kicking 2-pointers, but we got 3 goals.
Yeah, that's the point, yeah.
So, and the thing with the new rules is that when teams come out, it leaves the space inside for the likes of David. So now you are going to get teams that are going to sit down in front of David, so that's when you're going to need the 2-pointers, whereas yesterday Tyrone were kind of coming out and left the space inside. Yeah. But then again, I think it was our second goal, it was a high ball into Paul Gainey and he broke. David was outside the 2-pointer mark at that stage, but he ran in. He was expecting what was going to happen.
It was a funny bounce off the ball, actually.
Exactly.
Like a backspin ball, kind of bounced beautifully.
And he got himself in there, next thing he hit the back of the net. So, and we had a listener, was it a couple of weeks ago, saying that the new rules won't suit David Clifford. I think we see it last night. Yeah. These new rules will suit footballers.
We spoke off the air, the quality footballer, quality attacker,
will come to the top.
It suits them. You look at all the top forwards in the country. They're playing well, they're getting the scores, and the only thing that we haven't, like Liam said, is the 2-pointers. We haven't got to grasp with that as yet.
I think that'll come.
But that'll come. And you look at it, you look at our half forward line, it's a workman like half forward line. Dara line yesterday, Paddy Clifford and Rory Murphy, they're not kickers, but they were working extremely hard, Paddy in particular.
So come the championship, you would predict that the 6 forwards will all have an arsenal of being able to kick a 2-pointer from some stage?
I think so, and even after yesterday, I was figuring in my head, I wouldn't mind seeing Joe O'Connor there. I was watching Joe now yesterday, even though he did solid, without being outstanding, but we got to understand these were 2 very good midfielders as well, in Brian Kennedy and Confit Kilpatrick. Good workmen, and the boys battled away, and I even, when I was talking to Joe, I said if we could break 50-50, and in the second half we did. We battled away.
Not though till we got help from the West, though.
From Barry Dan.
Oh yeah.
Barry Dan was brilliant. Barry Dan went into midfield in the last 15 minutes, because you must remember Tyrone ran up a lead of, was it 6 or 7 points at one stage? We missed a couple of wides. David nearly broke the crossbar with a shot, and it didn't look like it was going to be.
And we got no point out of that as well. That was we got nothing out of it.
We got no score. Now I know Joe O'Connor won a free, and Darren scored after, and I don't know, we're down to 5 points, and then Joe gets the black card, and then you're saying, oh my God, and then they get the penalty, obviously, and they scored, and they're 5 points up. From that point, John, it didn't look like we would have the wherewithal to get out of jail. 5 points down, penalty given away, Tyrone flying. Now I know we had the wind and the whole lot, but it is one of the things that was discussed over the weekend. Sometimes maybe under these new rules you're better off with 14 or even 13, because the team that have the advantage of the additional player are not able to use that player.
No, they're not, and it's something that's come in for a lot of discussion in the last week or two now in particular. The new rules in general, we'll all agree they're good, but I think the 2 that you have to look at are the handing the ball back and certainly.
Oh, you hate that one, don't you?
I think, there was one instance that the foul was 30 metres away, is the player that has the ball going to go back 30 metres to hand it?
There was a very interesting one in...
That was the Dublin game.
The Dublin game, yeah.
Was it the Dublin game, was it? Or maybe it was the Division 2 game with Meath, maybe, or something similar, where the goalkeeper committed the foul. The goalkeeper came out, he committed the foul outside the box, but he would have had to bring the ball down nearly 40 yards to hand it over to the next midfielder. But because he didn't do it, the ball came back in front of the goal. I mean, things like that are not in the spirit of a foul as such.
And like, it's fine-tuning those, being honest. I think the general thing is we have to say that it helps to open up the defence. The 2-pointers is a big one. I think the 3v3 will have to be looked at. When you lose a man, instead of having 3 up, you can have 2 up. If you lose 2 men, you have only 1 up. Paul Ganey was the only 1 up for us.
And 3 marking him.
And 3 marking him.
3 marking him, yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. And it's something that the group will look at, I suppose, in fairness to them, because you'll only see the problems as time evolves. Yeah. But certainly,
if you were... Okay, they were defending the game, but if you were chasing the game... You know, the fact that you'd have to keep 3 players back marking 1 opposition player, it's not, there's no punishment for the black card as such. I mean, you could nearly argue in a sense that David getting his 10 minutes rest done wonders for him. The defence held on. I think that was the stage that we won the game where we stopped them from scoring for ages. Jason Foley, Graham Sullivan, they performed well at that stage. Barry Dan came in, he collected his few balls midfield, and then I suppose we had Burns came on instead of Paul Ganey as well, so we're getting fresher legs in the attack, Liam.
Yeah, and another man that we got to mention is, I thought it was his better game yesterday with Paddy Clifford. No, he seems to be coming back to the old Paddy Clifford now again. No, still a work in progress again as well, but yesterday he really, I know, was it the brother thing that was back?
Did the game suit him more yesterday? Because of all the teams we've played so far, Tyrone were the one team that kind of, I suppose they lent into us a little bit more. They you know, off the ball, there was a bit of pulling, there was a bit of dragging, there was a bit of fire needed yesterday.
A bit of fire, yeah. And you often hear the stories there of a fella needs an old belt going out before in the dressing room to get him going. That got the Kerry boys going yesterday. You could see David as well. The Kerry boys got a lot of attention off the ball yesterday, and the crowd as well. You know, they were buying.
It was hostile.
They were buying for blood. They were buying for blood, and it was proper hostile environment.
In a nice hostile,
in a nice way. And I suppose there's no better place to go when you go.
Like going to Curragh.
when you go away and when you quieten the crowd, and you could see that in David when he got the goal, and even the Kerry boys after the win, they were you could see there was that, and like John said, going in Tuesday night now in training, there'd be a bit of a pep in the step again, a good bonding kind of a win. But definitely I think it was the attention that they were getting, it got the gander up, as they say, and I think the likes of Paddy and David and all these guys, they pulled up the socks and they rolled up the sleeves and they said, we're going to show you something here today.
The thing that impressed me with Kerry in the last 10 minutes, John Kennedy, was we weren't settling for a 2-point loss or a 3-point loss. We were really going after it. Yep. And Dylan Casey, to me, was one of the guys. He popped up for a pass, he popped up for a score. And under the new rules, it is the game that it will reward you if you want to go win it.
Oh, definitely. And I'd add Damien Burke into that as well. He was going up the field, and don't forget the full forward line that Tyrone had, McCurry, Bradley and McElholm. At some stage anyway, it evolved and they were changing around because they were moving, they were switching. But that's a decent full forward line. Yeah. These guys snuffed them out, but these 2 young fellas came up the field, the least experienced players we have, led by example. Dylan kicked over a great point. You know, Clint's Fish coming out saying, let's go. We weren't prepared to lie down. We said last week, I felt that win, we look for a performance, we look for a reaction. We got it. Like Liam said earlier on, we wouldn't get carried away about it, because you look at the 4 league games, we could have won all 4. We could have lost all 4. So that's how close it is. But this was a great victory, and it showed the leaders that stood up. We lost. We had the 2 black cards, Joe and David. It didn't affect us. We grounded out. And we were still in the game when David returned, and you could see that the mission was, when they smelt victory, they went for it. And Graham Sullivan, popping up a great game again from wing back, and it kicked a great point just to make sure the 3 points.
A couple of things that we were looking for last week was our kickouts. There was an improvement in our kickouts. The movement was better.
There was more showing for it.
There was less
going
into the crowd or something. Yeah, and midfield, and I think up front, our movement in the forward line as well. We kind of came into the D and we were in and out, and there was a lot of movement and stuff. And I know people will say we had David Clifford and all that, but there was a lot of stuff going on besides David Clifford as well.
Yeah,
and the third one was the main one, was John's one. Jack was on the sideline, which he was happy with.
No, but I'll tell you in fair, I said it last week, and it is not a criticism, not having a go at him. Your manager is the man you look up to. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people said to me, where was Jack? I mean, regardless who else is on the line, the manager is the man. And you could see what it meant to him after. He was over speaking to Ed on at different times, but he was out there, the hand was going. Cian O'Neill and the lads were with him, but the manager was there, and I think they went up on a mission to win that game. Changed from Healy Park to Pomeroy, it didn't matter. We came away with the victory, great victory, and there'll be a pep in the step for Mayo now. Another tough game. And
coming down the last 10 minutes, I suppose, when the game was really won, and for me, a couple of things stood out. Shane Ryan's fantastic catch. Mm-hmm. You know, it could have gone over the bar another way. Yeah. He saved it, he kept it in. Barry then caught a massive ball dead in the middle of the field, a vital ball at the time. Brino Begley wins a vital free where your man nearly took the head off him, but he kept it, he won it. Again, a huge catch. And then Tyrone panicked because the 3 versus 3 rule, which we don't see, they obviously all went up the field.
Yeah.
The linesman, as brave and all as he was in front of a hostile stand, decides to put the flag up. We get a very handy free. David Clifford taps it over, and then the Graham Sullivan point. So it shows that we outlasted them. And of course, Jason Foley caught the last ball in the middle of the field, a fantastic catch, and he won it. And you can see how important it was to catch as well. So we were talking last week about a lack of leadership. This week we had it in a very tough test.
It was, like players take responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I know we can have all the rules and we can have all the set plays and you can have all the, but you got to play off the cuff as well. And I think we did that a small bit as well. Like if you kick 10 balls into David Clifford and he gets 6 scores, keep kicking the ball into him. And if you're getting inside and you can have a chance like Dylan Casey did and like Damon O'Connor, if it's open in front of you, take the shot. If it goes over, it goes over. Like what is it? You only miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You have to take a shot, and if you do, you're actually going to draw the attention to you, so it'll create space for someone else. And I think we did that yesterday. I think we had a lot of fellas that were kind of taking a bit of responsibility.
Yeah. David Clifford's 3-3. Was it the most he scored in a league game?
In a league game.
Go on now, come on. Different manager was in charge. He scored more.
Peter Keane.
Yeah, there we go. 3-6.
3-6, yeah. He could have 5. He could have 5-3 yesterday.
Well, he could have broke the crossbar too, to be fair to him. No, but it was super to see him back, of course, and Paddy as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that, guys. Before we go to the break, the Games Intelligence Unit. Who's that? What's that crowd? Are you on it, Liam?
I said Trump is after setting that up.
It sounds like a Trump thing, isn't it? The GA Games Intelligence Unit. Yeah, they've just set themselves up, and I've got their summary report, and I decided we'll get Andrew Moynihan to talk us through it because
so I can understand it.
He being a student have more time during the day. We'll take a break. Now you're very welcome back to Terrace Talk. Couple of comments coming in there. Good evening, Donal and the team. Great weekend in Pomeroy with the Kerry footballers. Some win away from home. I wonder, should we play all our games away from home this year now? Fair play to John Kennedy, got it spot on. Big fan here, John. God almighty. When you asked him last week, will we beat Tyrone? He said we would. Off to Mayo next week, and can't wait, John Creedon. Will we beat Mayo? Go on, make John's moment.
I think we will, Donald. I think we will. Mayo not.
Oh, you're only thinking now. You're definitely about Tyrone. You're going back a bit now, are you?
Weekend, they showed great resilience to come back again.
I think they're learning the new rules on the way, on the hoof, and they look
few new fellas, Aidan Shea back as well, right now doing hoof flying, and the wing forward, his name eludes me now, got a great goal.
Yeah.
It'll be a good game, open football again.
Hi Donal, great to see a win in Tyrone. Great to see David Clifford scoring goals. I hope Ambrose hasn't a crick in his neck from trying to see the game from his position. Charles, explain to the listeners in 30 seconds the kind of position you're in.
Well, we were up on a balcony behind the goals, and there was a wall jutting out, so to see the lower goals the boys had to reach out, so it made their job very difficult, and fair play to them, they managed the way alright, but as the professionals that they are.
Yeah, it was like a house with no planning permission.
It was, and there was a lot of bodies up there, and there was a lot of everything up there, and it went against everything for a commentary anyway, but they got over the line.
Well, they took their time at it.
They did, because we couldn't get Wi-Fi. We couldn't get Wi-Fi. We could get nothing. We were lucky. So
we're not asking for the Tyrone password. So. Hi, Donal. Pat's plan was giving out about Kerry scoring no goals. They've scored 8 goals now, and it's only the league. Hope Pat listens to your show, Eilish from Tralee. I'm sure Pat's plan listens. You text to John Kennedy. Are you still chatting away? Are you?
Oh yeah, we're good friends, Pat and myself. Yeah.
Jesus. That'll be the next thing now. Pat's playing podcast. Hi, Donal and the lads. I think the big scores teams are putting up under the new rules will eventually start to come down a bit as defenders start to learn the art of defending 1-on-1 defending again, because under the blanket defence was 3 or 4 marking one fella. As the great Wishy Fogarty used to say, close continuous coverage without fouling. And that's from Mossy. Absolutely. Wish he would have loved the new rules, Liam.
He'd love it. It's football. We're all, and even the Tyrone crowd now that were beside us, they were enjoying the game. There was great excitement. It was up and down. It's kind of, as I say, organised chaos. That Kerry be attacking next and they'd lose the ball, and she will see Shane Ryan scattering back. Tyrone be tackling Kerry. It was just constant, and it's enjoyable to watch now, because under the old rules there's no way David Clifford would have got 3 goals yesterday, because they would have playing 4 fellas around him. They would have sat back, and
he'd have to work 3 times as hard.
3 times. He wouldn't have got near the goalkeeper, not to mind. So
as a result of that, the game's intelligence unit was set up, and of course they have a summary report. Andrew Moynihan's on the phone with us. Andrew, the boys don't understand what this is, so that's why we brought you, Andrew. And it's, of course, looking back at the first 3 rounds of the National Football League, and it's very interesting. I mean, if you are kind of the nerdy type that loves stats and the whole lot, it is good, and it's kind of giving people, I suppose, an idea of where the game is now in comparison to where it was in 2023 and 2024 and the whole lot. And we'll give the boys a few stats now. But one of the things I was looking at from the section was the kickouts in the game, the long kickouts versus the short kickouts, and it's interesting to see, I suppose, in comparison to 2023 and 2024, where we are now with them.
Yeah, evening, Donal and the lads. Yeah, absolutely. It's just it's a stark difference to what we were used to over the last number of years with the long and short kickouts. Just to see it here was a percentage of 49% and 53% in the last 2 years. You're up there now to the 79% for long kickouts and 21% for short in the first 3 rounds of the Football League. I suppose, in a way, some people may say this has to be obvious considering there's a 40-metre arc, but nonetheless, this is good. Like, no one a lot of people, no one really likes the short kickouts. We want the contests in the middle of the field, and that's what we're getting from these opening couple of rounds. And it's just a sign that teams have to prepare for them now. Even I look at yesterday how Niall Morgan used the long kick out, and it went over the kind of the bunched in the middle of the field, and Derek Hannivan ended up catching it and obviously got the penalty then. But you're looking at midfielders who are kind of getting their flowers as well at the minute with how they were kind of made for these long kickouts. I think Diarmuid O'Connor is really flourishing with how the kickout strategies change and his talents are being shown. Interesting in terms of the goalkeeper too. I look at Galway yesterday. Conor Flaherty was in goals for them in the first half when they had the wind, and he got a 2-pointer himself. And Joyce substituted him at half-time for Conor Gleeson, who maybe Joyce might trust Conor Gleeson a bit better against the wind for those kickouts. So can other counties look at that? I know we've 2 fantastic goalkeepers in Kerry, which it's a privilege to have in Shane Murphy and Shane Ryan. And can we utilise both in such a way come championship? It's an interesting way of looking at it from Galway's perspective.
And of course a lot of teams will look into this, of course, and it's like you said, they're still kind of playing around, Andrew. The other thing that interested me was the contested kickouts during a game, and just to give people, I suppose, back in 2023, 36% of all kickouts in a senior championship football game were contested. So 1 in 3 roughly were contested. And that even dropped down to 26% in 2024. So there was even less kickouts. So these are, in actual fact, your short kickouts to your corner back, and ball goes back to the keeper and slow and methodical. That has hugely changed. And even going round by round, maybe take us through those figures, because they've nearly tripled.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gone up to, in round 1, 61%, round 2, 64%, and round 3, 68%. Even the increase round on round is telling so far. it's an unbelievable jump in contested kickouts, and it just goes to show how important kickout strategy is now, and it's become like a real fundamental. It's a real throwback to the good old days of Gaelic football. And even when you look at it from a Kerry perspective, and from the country even, just three midfielders, the tactic from now on, do you throw a midfielder in wing forward or wing back? Even, you see Brian Howard for Dublin often fills in the number 7 or wing forward role for Dublin. Could we do that with Kerry? You could maybe even see a partnership of Diarmid and Joe O'Connor in the middle of the field, and you could throw even Barry Dan at wing forward, or Darragh Lyons well capable of fielding on his day as well. So teams can't be conservative now on kickouts even late on when trying to maintain control of a match, which is going to make for absolute chaos late on in these games. So that's going to be fantastic to see as the championship progresses, and you get into the good sunny days of the summer, and it's going to make for some brilliant battles in the middle of the field. And even the breaks, they're so important too now. You nearly need a set, you nearly need to pick a set of 2 to 4 players that are ready to be under the midfielder for a loose ball, a Paul Galvin type player. Maybe you could see Paddy Clifford or Graham O'Sullivan diving onto a loose ball and making the attack quick and valuable for Kerry.
And then something that obviously these are, I suppose, average stats from the first 3 rounds, but something that really interested me was the contested kickouts across the divisions. And it's quite surprising to think that Division 2 is far more competitive than Division 1 maybe.
It's fantastic, yeah. It's mad to see. And you know, you look at Division 2 and you just look at the calibre of teams. There's no dummy team in Division 2. There's no whipping team, you know. Like there's fierce competition, and a lot of people would argue it's the most competitive in the country, because you have that kind of jeopardy now regarding the Tailteann Cup and the All-Ireland as well. And even there's some quality teams inside that would have not maybe All-Ireland Sam Maguire aspirations, but getting to the latter stages. Roscommon, mind you, they lost yesterday, but are having a fantastic league so far. Moynihan as well, Cork and Meath as well would have big aspirations for how they progress during the year. And the contested kickouts, it's nearly like Division 2 is the poster boy for these rules.
Yeah. And just to go through it, and I'll bring in Liam and John now as well. The contested kickouts, we know the contested kickout. We've discovered that the ball's going longer than it's ever gone. That you didn't need to know that, to be fair. But the divisions is different. If you go into Division 1, John, 60% of all kickouts are contested, right? If you go to Division 2, 68% of all kickouts are contested. If you go to Division 3, 72% of all kickouts are contested. And if you go to Division 4, 71% of kickouts are all contested. What's that tell you about the players, or maybe the managers or the styles, that in down Division 4 it really is out the middle, but even at this stage teams are figuring out a way maybe to not kick the ball out into a contested area? We were giving up about it last week, weren't we? We were saying, God almighty, why does he keep kicking it? Will you see that teams will bring that figure down as the season goes across?
I think so, Donal, and it's about getting position. And we said last week against Dublin, a great example. Ball kicked out, the wind bringing you to the side, crowded out, breaking ball, you're not getting primary position. The movement was very important, we saw that. But as you said, the lower divisions, I think that's going to change, because as teams get fitter, the ground gets harder, it's going to be even more important to get position. And unless you have someone like Niall Morgan that's going to drive it beyond the midfield, kicking it out into a crowded area is not going to be conducive to get scores. So it's about management teams and managers coming up with ideas, with movement, to still get the possession outside the arc without driving it out the middle.
Or else, Liam, is there better midfielders in Division 3 and 4 that you can kick a ball down the field and the man can go up high and catch it, as opposed to, or maybe it's a case that in Division 1 you have 4 and you have spoilers and you have fellas knocking it all over, where managers, like John said, it's about getting the possession at the end of the day, no matter how far down the field it goes. Yeah,
I suppose when you look at the divisions, you're probably looking, like John said, the management teams, you're probably really at a professional in that Division 1. You're going to have guys that are going to break it down, break every kick out down. And I do believe coming towards the summer, there'll probably be a lot of set plays, there'll be a lot of moves. You will see that figure probably coming down, because it's so important for a team now to get their hands on the ball. And we saw it against Dublin when we couldn't get our hands on the ball. They've really put pressure on us. We saw it yesterday when Tyrone wanted to get their hands on the ball. They couldn't, because we won a couple of vital kick-outs. So I think kick-outs and goalkeepers are going to be so important in these new rules, because it has a big bearing in the game.
Yeah, they're trying to get rid of the chaos, basically. I mean, the management and the players have to take some control of the ball back. At the moment, it's a bit chaotic. I mean, the ball can go in here, and then of course the weather conditions are a disaster, because the last 2 weeks, I said, the gale force winds, storms and everything, so that skews it. Total hand passes by type, Andrew. A very interesting slide on that one. Again, have we more or less no difference in hand passes?
More or less, no difference in hand passing. You're seeing a kind of a 3-2 in terms of hand pass to kick pass in 2023, a 3-4 in 2024, and in the opening couple of rounds, 3-2 hand pass, 3-4 in favour of the kick pass, and 3-2. So more or less the same in the opening couple of rounds. Maybe one of the flaws, and the hand passing game is still prominent. We're not going to have the perfect game, mind you, and obviously we're in winter football still. We're just getting out of that now. There mightn't be too much to counter it at the minute. I know a lot of people would have suggested, when these new rules were being brought up this time last year, would a 1 minute shot clock be potentially brought into the game? Is that adding more chaos and more stuff for referees to be looking out on potentially as well? But we're also seeing at the same time there is less passing, and that's potentially a good thing. Maybe you mightn't seem it. It's taking maybe less passes to get that shot off up the field. The ball's being moved that bit quicker in the opening rounds.
Mm-hmm. Looking through the figures, Liam, it tells you there's no difference really. I mean, I know Andrew says there's a difference, but I mean, it's minuscule. It's 2% of a difference. The new rules were brought in to move the ball fairly quickly. Is part of the new rules failing on the arc, the amount of hand passes that go around the arc and around the arc and around the arc? Is this where we're building up those hand passes?
It is, and I think a lot of that, Donal, is because teams are feeling their way through this at the moment. No, I think we'll see a lot less passes like the kick-outs in coming towards the summer, because teams will know where to attack, what points of defences that they'll you could say they'll know as a weak spot, and they'll keep attacking that. Whereas I suppose in the first 2 or 3 games, we don't even know who the 2-point kickers are.
Yeah.
And teams don't know that either themselves. So it's a case of pass it to John, pass it to me, pass it to you. So I think we'll see an improvement in that over time.
Mm-hmm. The shots to scores, Andrew, that's quite an interesting one. Obviously, when Liam Brosnan was playing, every shot he took was a score, and John Kennedy was probably a bit less favourable. But take us through the shots to scores.
Yeah, average shot to score ratio from the 2-point shot so far. You're seeing a 36% rate in Division 1, 49 remarkably in Division 2, 27% in Division 3, and 34 in Division 4. It is very interesting. Once again, Division 2 is leading considerably in that. In those statistics, maybe just has some fantastic forwards in Division 2. I know Roscommon and Moynihan are well capable of some fantastic scores. And just to put that figure into context for listeners, it's not the amount they're shooting. So 49% of the shots that Division 2 players have taken on from the 2-point range, they've scored. Division 1 is 36%. Division 3 is 27%. And Division 4 is 34%. And we're talking about the great forwards we have. We're talking about David Clifford being the great forward. He scored 3-3, not taking on the 2 points. And Kerry haven't really favoured the 2-point shots yet. Your other famous footballer, very good at it, Shane Walsh. We better give him his annual shout out. He's nearly...
He's excellent, in fairness. The 2-pointers yesterday in terrible conditions in Salt Hill. Exhibition kicking 2 points. I think he kicked 5. One guy that stands out from Roscommon is Dermot Murta, kicking some great scores, and particularly 2-pointers as well.
I think a lot of it here, Donal, is that a lot of our footballers in the last 10 years never kicked the ball.
Yeah.
So this is all new to us. and it's new to them as well, because it was all blanket defences, and there was so much. So as for and trying to get space to kick it, now they're getting space.
But it's still remarkable to think that in Division 2 the
49%.
That's fairly hot shooting, to be fair. Like, you know, 1 in every 2 shots are scored from the 2-point arc, where, look, I mean, 36% in Division 1, where you would say the better forwards are. The other one that's changed is players favouring the solo and go. We didn't see a whole pile of it yesterday, to be fair, I suppose, under the conditions maybe. Take us through the solo and go, Andrew.
If I can just find the solo and go. Terry, give me 2 moments.
Again, I'll go through the figures while you're finding them, and I suppose the thing about it is how many done on average. Division 1 was in the first round, it was 30, 37 and 33. Division 2, quite interestingly here, again, I suppose there's probably a game missing there maybe or something, but it went 46, 50 down to 28. Division 3 was 38, 38 and 28, and Division 4 was 31, 30. It's a huge help to the game. I mean, in the old days, Andrew, they would have been kind of standalone frees taken, but now fellas are motoring along fairly nicely with them.
Yeah, and in particular, it's one of the things that I noticed Kerry doing a lot yesterday, when maybe there could have been a foul to just kind of stop a play by Tyrone. I guess Paudie Clifford on a couple of occasions quickly took on the solo to get that ball up the field and move on further. It's a great thing to be brought in. It's kind of one of the forgotten rules, but arguably one of the best, as it keeps the game going. And I see there was a big jump in teams round 2. People were mad for the solo and go. It's topped the numbers between round 1, round 2, and round 3. Round 2 seems to be a big deal for the solo and goal. But I think as championship progresses, it'll be like the contested kickouts and stats like that will go up too. We'll see a lot more solo and goals as the championship progresses, because you saw the benefit it gave Kerry yesterday, and just in trying to claw back that game, and so they did, and it was fantastic how they did it near on in the end.
Mm-hmm. The last one I want to touch on before we take a break is the fouls. I suppose the new rules were kind of brought in many ways. Fouls will always be fouls. The aggressive foul, I'll give the stats there. In Division 1 there was 253 aggressive fouls in the first 3 rounds, 352 aggressive fouls in Division 2. So Division 2 has it already, they set all the records. Division 3 was 277 and Division 4 was 288. But the one that surprised me the most, when they go into technical fouls, so these are basically guys that I suppose are double hops or whatever, and overholding and overcarrying and all that kind of stuff. 46 technical fouls in Division 1. Division 2 is down at 35, so while they're far more aggressive fouling, there are less technical fouls. Division 3 is 48 and Division 4 is 37. I know it's only a snapshot of it, but it's a lot of technical fouls in Division 1, Liam, when you're better teams. Fair enough, aggressive foul. I can understand an aggressive foul. I can understand the delaying foul. I can understand maybe the scent foul. But technical fouls.
Technical fouls, yeah. I suppose the one thing I do see with the fouls now, and I saw it yesterday, the cynical foul is gone out of the game, because there's a punishment there for it. Tyrone couldn't do cynical with us, and the crowd were roaring to stop the Kerry players at times.
The most cynical foul yesterday was committed by Kerry, Joe O'Connor.
Joe O'Connor, that's right, yeah.
In a nice cynical
way, yeah. He tried, but he just couldn't get there, that kind of a way. But that's the one thing I did notice yesterday, and especially against Tyrone.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't slow down the play. You know, I think the solo and go was great as well, because usually if you got a foul against Tyrone, there was 3 or 4 fellas standing in front of you, so you could go nowhere. They can't do that now anymore. So the solo and go is very good. So the cynical foul is kind of going from the game, because there's too much of a punishment there for it.
Fair play. Andrew, fair play to you. Games Intelligence Unit.
Is Andrew on that panel?
I don't know.
He opened down to Dublin.
I don't know. Maybe he's making up these figures. Are you still there, Andrew?
Gone.
Andrew's gone. Fair play. Right. We'll say goodbye to Andrew anyway. Good luck, Andrew. That, of course, is Andrew Moynihan, not on the Games Intelligence Unit, just in case
we say he is.
But to be fair, a great man to read through the stats. And I suppose in many ways, John Kennedy, it's good that they're reviewing the games by game, because I suppose for people that want to understand the game and how it is going, this will help.
There's no doubt, and it's about speeding up the game, making it more attractive, high scoring, and like Liam said, the so long goes won, the cynical foul is gone, and I think as the year goes on, when teams become more accustomed to it, don't forget we had no pre-season this year, so you were basically depending on challenge games, which are at a different level, but certainly it is improving it.
It's more enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
There you go. Final comment. The clock really works. We had 10 minutes in the second half. If this was in the old format, maybe they'd be 3 or 4, says Pod. Yeah, absolutely. If the clock was against us, we'd be in an awful hurry. We'll take a quick break. Why was Shawnee O'Shea missing? Was he injured? Will he be back for Mayo? Liam, did you get any gossip there?
No gossip. Either he must be injured, or maybe Jack is kind of resting him. He's after playing.
Did you not ask the question? No,
we wouldn't be that. We're not that brave. we were too high up anyway. We couldn't ask anyone. But no, I'd say he might be carrying a small injury.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack did say that he was going to rest a number of players because it was a 5-week belt of players as well. Hi Donal, a hard day up in Tyrone yesterday, and great to get away with a win. Kerry supporters need to cut Paddy some slack. The shift he put in yesterday was savage. The hits, the treatment that was dished out to him could only be seen if you were there. He got little protection from the officials, also Beaufort listener. I think the consensus was it was definitely Paddy's best game of the 4, like the Paddy that we know.
Yeah, and I saw it was Sylvester Hennessy's tweet. I think he had 55 possessions, but we often said about possessions, it's what he does with them. And he did a lot now yesterday. Even when we got down to the 13 men, he carried Kerry a lot. No, he got one a free down to we got a score out of it. No, he was a leader now on the field now yesterday.
Yeah, Donal, do you and the panel think that there's still too much hand passing? Spent the time yesterday roaring, will he kick the ball in and try and score something? And yet that's the perception, but we looked at the stats and the figures of whoever was saying, and they were saying that there's 3 times more kicks to hand passes. In some games, there's 4 times more kicks to hand passes. There still looks like there's an awful lot of hand passing in the game.
It looks like it, because I suppose the game speeds up and then it kind of slows down. And I suppose mentally you're kind of looking at the slow part of it again. But look, teams especially at Division 1 level and at a high level, they're not going to kick it in unless there's an opportunity to get a score out of. We're always saying, Jesus, just kick it in anyway to the likes of David and Paul Gainey, because you saw the big ball that was kicked into Paul Gainey. It broke and we got the goal out of it. But put the ball into the danger zone is the big thing now. But I suppose, look, I think the first couple of games there was hand passing. We were the biggest culprits of it. But I think yesterday we've brushed up on that.
Absolutely. Come here, the Kerry Supporters Club are taking their bus off again, and I'd say they'll nearly pack another one now because we win more away from home than nearly at home, and they're heading off to Castlebar this Saturday. All seats must be booked by this Thursday evening, and the travel times there: Farnford at 8:30, Tralee at 9 o'clock, Listowel at 9:30, and if you want to book, contact Donal, Larry, John King or Martin Lean there, the Kerry supporters. A lot of Kerry supporters up yesterday?
Big Kerry support up there now yesterday, and it was great because when they hit the back of the net, you hear, it's like busting a balloon. You hear the air going out of the Tyrone and you hear the pockets of the Kerry supporters, and that's great for the players as well. Great to see the green and gold up there.
Yeah, absolutely. Quickly, the ref turned a blind eye to a lot of the behaviour that David Clifford received. Why does David Clifford get so much abuse at these matches? And there's 4 or 5 to that train of thought, and a couple more there. It still goes on, doesn't it?
It does, Donal, and unfortunately, look, it's the marquee players that get it, really, and David is one of those. He's one of the best. He's probably pound for pound the best player in the country. Does go in for close attention, but you could see the smile in his face after each of the goals.
Well able to mind
that was the answer. He certainly showed, and he there's no place for it in the game. And to be fair to the ref, you're not going to see everything. We've often said here about the umpires and linesmen, but sometimes it's more sledging, as they call it, more than physicality now. Because if you're seeing to hit a guy, there's so many cameras, there's so many people around, you'll be pulled. But look, David showed yesterday that his appetite is back, his hunger is back, and certainly he was a top form.
He's lean looking, he's fit looking now as well. So
sure, he's played a football match in 300 days. What do you want?
I'm not sure if myself and John didn't play in 300 days, we wouldn't be lean and fit.
That's awful, John.
That's terrible.
I think you're very fit, John. You're
Thanks, Tom. Thanks,
you might be needed for Division 5 or 6 there, the way things are going. Come here, the Under-16 National Cup is on, and into the last 16. I better give a shout out to Mastergee AFC, the neighbours, the crowd down the road. They're playing Leixlip United. That's Jacko's old soccer club, I suppose, if he was up there. Sunday at 2 p.m. above in Leixlip. Good journey for them as well, and the best of luck to a lot of those boys. A lot of Owen Rua boys playing for those. And I suppose talking about Owen Rua, that'll lead us on to North Kerry, which we'll talk about in a second, because there's a lot of people this evening texting about Donal, the programme was another joke. Hopefully it wasn't Terrace talking around about, but around about the match programme. The Kerry numbers all up in a heap. Liam?
Yeah, but not Kerry's fault. And to be fair,
are you only saying that?
The Kerry boys, they all played in their numbers as of programmes. So said like the Dylan Casey wore 24, even though he started at number 4. No, they all, and Kerry did their best to do it. And to be fair to Jack O'Connor at the end, he kind of spoke up to us and he kind of apologised for the programme, and he said, look, it wasn't really our fault. So I don't think we can shoulder the blame this time.
To explain it in black and white terms, Kerry named their team on the Thursday evening. They sent it up to Tyrone as would normal to be done. They'd gone to print already. They decided, sure, we probably can't wait or won't wait, and they gathered the team off the website from the night before. Not Kerry's fault at all. Kerry could have stuck the oar in and said, well, listen, these are the numbers that the players are playing in, but to accommodate, I suppose, the media, which is hugely important, to accommodate particularly, I suppose, Tina G, I suppose that wasn't a big one really. It wasn't meant to kind of be on live, then all of a sudden it was. So the reason that Barry Dan wore 4 was obviously Tom O'Sullivan wasn't playing, so that jersey was available. The number 11 jersey went to Tony Brosnan, yes, yeah. Because Shawnee wasn't available, and so on and so forth. Not Kerry's fault on this occasion at all, listener. And to be fair to them, they do get a fair bit of abuse, but on this occasion, no case to answer whatsoever. Case to answer for some listener, John Kennedy. Why are we so bad at 2-pointers? Why are we not bothered with them?
Yeah, it's a good question, Donal. You know, it's I suppose I think it's about adjusting to it. We haven't shot even, very few. But
did we take a shot yesterday at one?
I don't think we did. I can't remember a 2-point attempt yesterday.
I don't think so. Other teams are, particularly the likes of Galway and Roscommon, really they're going for it. But that's something that's going to evolve during the championship. I mean, if we keep winning games and not getting any 2-pointers, we'll be quite happy. But I'd say it's something that we.
But it's still an arsenal you want in the tank. It's still something that the day will come. You won't get the goals. You have to have it.
But as I said earlier, Donal, Paddy Clifford yesterday, Rory Murphy and Dara Line, they're not the 2 lads are not kickers. They were walking back. Shawnee Shea's our kicker from the half forward line.
And I suppose the other side of the coin, Jack is still balancing, giving guys a run. Yeah. Trying to get the team up to speed. You don't want your full championship team in round 4, and you have to look at guys, and I suppose in the heated battle, and Tyrone was a heated battle place.
That's a good place now, tearing no roads, to be honest.
What is it?
Yeah.
Come here quickly, we've about 3 minutes left. Armagh Mayo shared the spoils. Bit of a shock, Mayo on the rise, John?
Yeah, I think they're improving. Do you know, they're using a lot of players, a few good young lads in there. Brought back the old brigade again, Aidan O'Shea, Ryan O'Donoghue coming back, you know, Fergal Boland, cost them probably at the end, you know, with not giving away the ball. That showed, and that's another learning process. But down at the bottom of Division 1 is really tight. I mean, you have Derry, Tyrone, Mayo and Armagh. The next round is going to be very important. That's why the game against Mayo for Kerry, it's really a relegation battle for Mayo. They're on 3 points. If they lose, they're certainly in the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more comments, but we'll skip through them. Barry Dan Donal is the best of the midfielders. No debate.
Yeah, good point.
When all is said and done, when he came on, he began to win ball in the centre of the field, and I suppose possession is vital. You're on about it. He won those couple of dirty balls, and then of course the balance out around the country. This obviously North Kerry. Jason Foley, Dylan Casey and Graham Sullivan held it all together when we needed them most. Great sign of the defence. So yeah, they all got positive views, and just because we're Kerry and we like to keep things balanced, I love this text that come in. Hey Donal, right. Where are the Jack out boys tonight? Suppose they're going quiet tonight, are they? Hopefully that didn't come from South Kerry, but I can imagine. It's amazing what 1 week can do, John Kennedy. I would argue the point that we were no better or worse this week than we were last week, but the result made all the difference.
It's a results-based game, Donal, and you know, whatever sport you're in, it's all about results. I'm not sure how many were looking for Jack out, but at the same time there was huge disappointment.
There was a fair few.
I suppose there was, but there was fierce disappointment. All of us were disappointed with the performance against Dublin, the way we fell away. But what we were looking for was a rebound, and we got the rebound in Tyrone. Got over the line, we'll have to say. At one stage it looked dodgy, as you said previously, but look, we got the 2 points, we got the result, and we move on.
And I think it was the manner of the way we dug it out and the way we got on. Ask Liam what was in the soup for Ambrose.
I didn't see the soup because I was talking to Joe at half time, so you'd have to find out. I got no soup anyway, whatever happened.
No soup. Lads, we need a functioning midfield. We are simply not up for the tough stuff, as Tyrone dished it onto us all day. I suppose you're not going to go to Tyrone without a bit of a shoulder.
Yeah, and I think like you have Joe O'Connor now, Barry Dan, Mark O'Shea. We'll have if we can build 4 midfielders that would see out a game for you. I think that'll be good enough. And break even. We don't want to be winning on midfield the whole time, but just to break even.
Yeah, lads, we're winning playing badly, but that's okay with me as long as we continue to win. That goes down to that, doesn't it? We just have to win, get over the line, move on to the next round. The Cliffords won the day. What will we do without them? And there is a lot of David Clifford love on the line as well this evening. It was a terribly hard game to watch, lads, apart from the 3 fantastic goals by David Clifford. I suppose ultimately that was the difference, was it? You didn't watch much of it, to be fair.
No, I was on the phone. But yeah, look, David Clifford the entry fee alone.
Yeah.
When he goes out, no matter what he's doing. But we were blessed in Kerry that we had the Gooch, we had Morris Fitz, we had Mikey Sheehy, we had Declan, so all these John Kennedy, all these great footballers, So, and I think, look, but still at the same time, we need 14 other with David Clifford.
Absolutely.
These are exceptional players, and we're so lucky to have them. And David Clifford is class.
Yeah.
We'll let you have the final word, so John.
Thanks, Don.
Fair play. We'll take a break.